The shadow of the night. It was night. A thick fog had spread over Surajpur village, as if a black curtain had covered the sky. The air carried a strange whisper, as though some invisible force was speaking through the trees. On the outskirts of the village stood an old, dilapidated mansion. People said that strange noises echoed from it at night. No one dared to go near. But tonight, 4 friends, David, Meena, Ajay, and Priya, were standing at its door. Their breaths were heavy, their faces showing a mix of fear and excitement. "Do we really have to go inside?" Priya asked in a trembling voice. Her eyes were fixed on the broken door that swayed gently with the wind. "There's no turning back now," David said, his voice carrying a strange determination. "We made a bet, remember? Whoever spends the entire night inside will be the bravest, but the stories..." Meena hesitated. "People say shadows roam inside." Many went in, but no one ever came back. "Nonsense!" Ajay tried to laugh, but fear was clear in his tone. "These are just stories made up by the villagers. Let's go." The 4 looked at each other. Suddenly, the mansion's door creaked open by itself, as if inviting them inside. A cold gust of wind hit their faces, making their skin crawl. David switched on his flashlight and stepped forward. The others followed close behind. The moment they entered, the wooden floorboards groaned loudly, almost like a scream. Dust floated in the flashlight's beam. Old portraits hung on the walls, their painted eyes staring directly at them. "Did you hear that?" Priya whispered. "It felt like someone was breathing behind me." "Stay calm, Priya," David said, though his own voice trembled slightly. "There's no one here." They reached a long corridor. On both sides were closed doors, each with old locks. Some locks were broken, as if forced open long ago. Suddenly, a shadow flickered at the end of the hallway. What was that?" Meena clutched David's hand. Maybe just the wind," Ajay muttered, though his widened eyes betrayed his fear. David aimed his flashlight toward the end, but there was nothing. Only an old mirror covered in dust. As they approached it, Priya screamed, "My reflection? It just moved!" They all looked at the mirror. Their reflection seemed normal, but Priya's was different. Her reflection's eyes glowed red, and it was smiling, while Priya herself was trembling with fear. What is this?" Priya stepped back. Suddenly, another reflection appeared. A tall, dark shadow, its face nothing but a black void. The shadow stretched out its arms, and a chilling, hollow laughter filled the mansion. The friends stumbled back. David swept his flashlight frantically, but the shadow had vanished. Only their breathing echoed in the silence. "We should leave!" Meena's voice cracked. "No," David said firmly. "We need to find out what this is." They opened an old room at the corridor's end. Inside was a desk with a leather-bound diary, stained as if with blood. David opened it. The first page was blank, but the second read, "Whoever enters this mansion will never leave." "This is insane," Ajay muttered, fear dripping from his words. David flipped through the pages. Each page was filled with disturbing drawings. Black shadows, red eyes, broken faces. On the last page was written, "He is watching you." Suddenly, a strong wind burst through the window, slamming the diary shut. The flashlight flickered and went out. In the dark, Priya shrieked, "Something touched me!" David tried to switch the light back on, but it wouldn't work. Then, from the corner of the room came a whisper, Why? Have you come here? The four froze. The voice was icy, crawling down their spines. AJ stammered. Who's there? No reply. Instead, a shadow spread across the wall, the same shadow from the mirror. Its long, thin fingers crawled like insects across the wall. The second room. They tried to run, but the door slammed shut and jammed, trapped. We have to do something, Mina cried, tears in her eyes. David noticed an old painting on the wall. It showed a family, a man, a woman, and a little girl. But the girl's face was smudged, erased. Below was written, "Beware. She's hungry." What does that mean? Priya whispered, shaking. Just then, the sound of a child's laughter echoed through the room. It was so twisted, so sharp, it felt like a spirit screaming directly in their ears. Dust rained from the ceiling as the chandelier above began to shake. "She's up there," Ajay shouted. They all looked up. A black shadow crawled across the ceiling like a spider, its glowing red eyes glaring down at them. David grabbed an old chair and hurled it at the shadow. For a moment, it vanished, but then reappeared, this time right behind Priya. "Priya, behind you!" Meena screamed, but it was too late. The shadow's black arms wrapped around her. Priya's scream filled the mansion, and then silence. She was gone. "Priya!" David cried, his heart pounding. "We have to find her." He took her. Meena sobbed. "We need to escape, David." But the mansion was now a trap. Every door was locked. Every window showed only endless darkness. They entered another room. Inside was an old piano, playing by itself. The notes were slow and haunting, like a dead soul telling its tale. Beside it lay a doll, its face smeared with blood. Suddenly, the doll's eyes moved. It looked straight at David and whispered, "You are mine." Ajay kicked the doll hard. It smashed against the wall, but with it came a piercing scream that shook the room. A black mist rose, and from it emerged the shadow again. This time, it held Priya's flashlight. That's Priya's flashlight. Meena gasped. The shadow dropped it to the floor, shattering it. Its red eyes glowed brighter in the dark. "You woke me," the shadow said, its voice so terrifying it froze them in place. "Now you are all mine." David gathered his courage. "We can't give up. We must save Priya and get out of here." They discovered a stairway leading to the basement. The air was colder, the walls painted with grotesque drawings of shadows and spirits. In the center stood an old coffin. On top was a mirror. Inside it, Priya's reflection. "Priya!" David shouted. But before they could reach it, the shadow appeared again. This time holding an ancient knife, the blade dripping with blood. "You disturbed my sleep," it growled. "Now you will sleep with me." David spotted an old cross lying nearby. Grabbing it, he hurled it at the shadow. A shriek erupted as its form dissolved into black mist. But the basement shook violently, cracks splitting the walls and floor. "We have to get out of here!" Ajay yelled. They fled up the stairs, but the mansion itself seemed alive. Walls whispered, shadows poured from every corner. Finally, they reached the main door. It was locked tight. "There's no way out," Meena cried. Then David noticed an old lock above the door, marked with a strange symbol, the same one he had seen in the diary. He touched it, and a bright light flared. The door burst open. They ran outside, only to turn back and find the mansion gone. In its place was nothing but an empty field, swallowed by fog. By morning, the 3 survivors returned to the village. But there was no sign of Priya. The villagers listened, but didn't believe them. They insisted the mansion had never existed. But David, Meena, and Ajay knew what they had seen. And every night, as they tried to sleep, they heard the same chilling whisper. "I'm still watching you."